There is a saying, once finished, a book begins. And so it seems like it's been 7 years, John, but it's only been 2 years since I self-published a book called Without Regrets, A Nurse's Advice About Aging and Dying. So let me just read to you a tiny bit about what I say about why I wrote this book. The content in this book is inspired by my family and my husband's family, two very different families living very different scenarios and making very different choices at the end of life. Mabel, my mother, was a farm woman. Isabel, David's mother, was a Canadian aristocrat. My mother had presence of mind until the very end of her life. David's mother had dementia for several years. My father didn't believe in science or medicine. He was a Baptist minister in the state of Oklahoma. David's father was a surgeon in the state of Oklahoma. David and I did not anticipate becoming responsible for the care of our aging parents. Who among us thinks of old age, dying, or closure in the middle of building a career and a family? Who is clear-sighted enough to realize that just as we are beginning to hit our stride, our elders are slowing down, their biological clocks ticking away, and their health status changing? But as the Emmott children grew up, so our parents aged, and we spent the next decade caring for our family and making decisions. The responsibilities were often overwhelming. Though our professions, I'm a nurse ethicist and David is a physician, focus on teaching others to make healthcare decisions, we had to learn firsthand the challenges involved in helping our parents and families imagine and live the final chapters of their lives. Early in the experience, I began to see that other couples and most families will, sooner or later, encounter the same challenges and need to build the same expertise, though each family must find its own way. This book grew out of my desire to share the benefits and insights that we gained along the way. We learned many lessons from each other, from other family members, and from our friends and patients who also shared their stories with us. As we continue to reflect on our experience, talk with friends, and work with other professionals doing end-of-life planning, we realize how important it is to engage one another in this conversation. In our decade of caring, we did some things well, some things not so well. We fell down at times, but we always got back up. We tried to hold dear and respect the lives of our loved ones. We tried to accept and help them accept the inevitable losses that accompany extreme age and frailty, and to tread on with courage. So this book was not written to give you perfect solutions. I hope that by reading this book, you will be better prepared than David and I were to become caregivers, companions, and comforters for your loved ones. I hope that your experience with frail or dying family members or friends will not be so burdensome that you become sick or that your family comes undone. But mostly, I hope that you will learn to make decisions with and for your loved ones with confidence. When you begin to look back on this process, I hope that you will be able to do so without regrets. So the last 2 years have served really as my becoming a student of the very words that I wrote. David and I really wrote this because we faced so many difficult decisions over a decade that we thought we learned some tricks of the trade and let's pass them forward. What I have since learned after focusing on aging parents is that there is a broad spectrum of a population in the United States that looks for guidance in difficult decision making. 3 cohort groups that I've learned about in the last 2 years, and some of you in this room and here in Kansas City have friends that I know as well who are experiencing difficult decision making as grandparents who are possibly even over 70, who have serious illness, but are also raising their grandchildren. So that's one cohort group that I've become acquainted with frequently in the last 2 years. Women my age and older who are caring for spouses who are in their 80s. So women who were 40, 45, and 50 who married men 15 to 20 years older and are now caring for men who have serious illness, frailty, and dementia who are in their 80s. So that's another population. Also, parents my age and older who are caring for adult children who have cancer. So that's another population. So as I've gone, probably in the last 2 years, I've given probably more than 30 talks on the book and on the topic of making difficult decisions and what you can do to anticipate what those might look like. I also have helped my very own sister-in-law die from ovarian cancer. And Myra has shared a lot of that with me in the last few years. So my experience as a professional, but also personally, has grown to a different group than just caring for aging parents.